Hi, welcome to the Pursuit of Truth. It is the 9th of August 2018. So I was thinking about how would it be possible for us to achieve what we all want? Now I know for different people it would be different things. Like the vast majority of people, will want people to know that the earth we live upon, what it truly is, that it's flat. Then there'll be some people who will be wanting equality and real equality and justice for all peoples of this planet. But I guess a broader way of looking at both of those things is honesty or truth of the world that we live in. The true world, as in we know the truth, we acknowledge it, we understand it, and we follow it. I.e., the truth of what the planet we're living on, assuming it is a planet, I'm using that term, but whatever it is we're living upon, to know that truth, to all live as one being, because we're all one species, and etc. And I was trying to think, how would that be possible? Because people are so, I was going to say eclectic, is that the right word? I don't think it's the right word. It's the word that comes to my head, but people are so, they have their own ideas, their own thoughts. You could put 100 people in a room, they'd all argue with each other to get them all to have a consensus, to agree. I mean, that's why they came up with governments and police to force upon that idea. So we don't want to go back down that road, do we? So how would we all live on a planet with truth, with us foregoing these teachings that we've been taught for thousands of years, that you're different, I'm different, in the sense that, the whole made-up notion of skin colour, you're black, you're white, you're American, you're British, you're Chinese, you're Russian, all these divisive notions that have been invented or have come about through time that have separated us all. How do we, it's like a jigsaw piece that has been thrown up in the air and it's gone over 1,000,000 miles, and now we've got to collect all those pieces and polish them up and chip away at the edges to try and fit it all back in together again and then start afresh. How difficult that would be. I know that H.G. Wells, I believe it's a tribute, well, that's who I'm going to attribute it to, but I believe it was him who said that he believed that the only way you could get utopia, as in, like everyone living together and, basically what I was just describing, would be through, I don't know if he said a third world war or a nuclear war, but something like that, where I think it actually said where that only 2/3 of the population would be killed and there'd only be 1/3 of the population left, something like that, around those terms. I mean, it doesn't matter who said it, but yeah, that makes sense for maybe that is the only way that we could, restart, because there'd be less people. Because the problem is with changing everything around us is the people, strangely, and that's ones that everyone wants to do it for, because it's the people who hold on to, wrong ideas, fallacies, truth, no matter what it is the people that hold on to these things. It's the people who have the perception of reality. So the more people you have, the more difficult it is. Unless you regiment them like they do in the army, where you force into them I'm in charge, you must listen to me, this is what we're going to do, we're all going to be free, you're going to be free, you're going to believe the earth's flat, you're going to love each other, you will. But then of course that's not freedom, is it? Because I'm telling you what to do. It's indoctrination, the same way that we do with schools, the same way we do with democracy, the same way we do society at the moment. It's a form of that, and we know how that's led us. So I don't know, is it impossible? That's what I'm worried about. Is it impossible now? Have we gone too far down that it's impossible for us to change our ways, to actually become civilized, to actually become evolved or educated, whatever term you want to use? Are we always going to be like this, where there'll be a few people that will know what's right, what's not, and everyone will just follow what everyone else has told them to follow? Because I'm thinking, like, even if everyone knew that, say that everyone knew that the Earth was flat, or everyone knew that false flags were arranged by governments, people would forgo it. They would say, well, that was different people. There's different people in charge now. It's the same like with with Tony Blair and the weapons of mass destruction lie. If he was suddenly to say, yeah, I did make it all up and all those people got killed for nothing, well, that wouldn't stop Jeremy Corbyn becoming leader of the country, because they will say, well, it's not him, is it? So the same as like if everyone knew that it was flat Earth, they would say, well, NASA lied, but the people in charge, we still trust them. Okay, so now we have a flat Earth, let's go to work. So I don't know how, because that's what, all of us are trying to communicate truth in some way or another, or a version of it, or trying to educate people into discerning or thinking about things for ourselves. But our end goal must be surely so that we don't have to do this anymore, so that everyone actually wakes up, as it were, and we change and we live a better reality. We get rid of this board game and these rules and these pieces, and we create a new one together. I mean, all the countries are all separate, they've all got different leaders, they all want to hold on to their own countries. They're not going to just say, oh yeah, we'll all be brothers and sisters now, we're all going to live together, and we're all going to, we won't work any more for money, we'll just work for pleasure, we won't, manufacture waste of all the stuff, and we'll actually do things properly that makes logical sense and for the betterment of everyone. And no one, you can have my $20 billion house, I'll sell it, we'll make loads of houses so that everyone can live, and there'll be no one on the streets and no one will have to pay rent. And so the problem is the 1%, the people who have all the money and the power and the land of this planet that was given to us freely, they're not going to give away that, because, well, they're the only ones who can do it. People like me who don't have anything, who have got awoken, as it were, and are speaking these truths, I can't change anything, in the sense that I don't hold those things. Those people with the power, the money, and the influence, and the land, they're the only ones that can actually do this. So maybe that is actually really the only way we can do this, is we need us 99% to awake that 1% who have everything, to understand that this isn't the way it's meant to be, and that we're all meant to live like you live, every one of us, and only you can make that happen. But what's the chances of that? Because imagine you have everything, you have all the happiness, you can do anything you want to do, you don't have to worry at all. I know I'm simplifying that, but you know what I'm trying to say. You have the throne. Who's going to get off that throne? Yeah, there will be some people who say, yeah, I would do it. I'd like to believe that I'd be one of those people, but how many millions of people is that we have to, well, it's probably not even a million, is it? How many, that 1%, what was it? 1% of 7 billion. I don't know, I'm not going to do maths at the moment, but maybe it's 500,000 people. How can we convince those 500,000 people that we want difference, that we want change, we want to live in a better place? That's the difficulty, that's the actual real mission that we need to achieve, I guess. Or we just kill those 500,000. Actually, that'd probably be easier, wouldn't it? Rather than trying to convince them, although this is completely the wrong message that I'm saying, but jokingly I'm saying that would actually be the easiest way, if all those 500,000 people suddenly weren't to exist, and that then we'd be left to take it over ourselves. But the problem is we've been taught the way to do it by them, not them per se, but their system, so that we would just become them anyway. we wouldn't. We'd want to. Oh, I want to be him. I want to be that. Have all those houses and yachts and cars and companies. And then it's an ever decreasing problem. Maybe the only way is through education, but the problem is the people in power control that. If we could educate people so that we could, over time weed it out, but that could take generations. Unless something major happens that enlightens people to the very reality that we live in and the reality that we could live in. Anyway, that's enough waffling from me. Take care, take it easy, God bless, and peace.